Hi everyone, Cadis27 here with my most recently completed project, the RX-27 Handheld Magnetic Acceleration Cannon, or HMAC for short. This video is just meant to be a brief overview of the electronics and a few components that might not come across in pictures. But for a full write-up, details, and kind of the building process, see the link down below for my thread at the 405th, which is an awesome Halo cosplay and prop making community that inspired me when I was a kid and continues to do so today. So without further ado, let's get started. First things first, when I first started designing the gun, I 3D printed this mini version that has a removable magazine, removable batteries, as well as even a little rotating handle. Kind of hard to see, but right there. And this just helped me visualize the gun and let me hold something that I created for the first time. So I'll probably paint it to look like the real thing and just use it as a little desktop display. Like the mini version, the full version also has a removable magazine, much bigger as you can see. It has two fake rounds here in the top, and it's hollow on the inside, but maybe in the future I'll use it to store some extra batteries or tools or something like that. It has a guide rail here on the back, and it matches with a part inside here to allow it to slide in really smoothly. So here we go. And it's just held in place via friction. So moving on now to the electronics. The gun is powered by 12 AA batteries, and when I was designing the gun, I really wanted these fake looking batteries that are sitting on the back here to be really functional. So what I did is I removed some 9-volt connectors and soldered them to 2 screws that I then connected to the battery pack. So each of these battery packs does actually work and can plug into the gun. And in order to change the batteries, all you have to do is just remove one little screw at the top of the package here. Just right there. So I'll just go and put that back on and load this guy up into the gun. Now each of these battery packs is 9 volts, it's 6 AA's, and they run in parallel, which allows the battery life to be extended instead of jumping to 18 volts and having a ton of power, but shorter battery life. I chose to run them in parallel so I could get a little more longevity because there is a lot of electronics, as you'll see, running throughout the gun. So now that we have that guy all tightened down, it can just kind of plug inside here. You'll see the 2 kind of receptacle connectors there, and it just kind of fits in here. Go line it up, and it even makes a little click into place. And they're just kind of held here by those connectors, but it's been a pretty good connection and I've never had them fall out so far. So once the batteries are in place, the electricity flows from these into a little voltage regulator, which steps down the voltage from 9 volts to 5 volts. That electricity is then fed into these 2 main switches here, and the first one here, which is outlined by a red LED, powers on the soundboard and the speakers up front. The soundboard I use for the project is an Adafruit sound effect soundboard, and it's great for those who don't want to mess with Arduinos like myself to add a little bit of sound to the project. So the second main button here, which is outlined in blue, powers up all the LEDs. But first let's go and play the charging up sound effect, one of my favorites. It's based off the sound effect of Godzilla from 2014. And I just did a little bit of mixing in Audacity with a few other sounds to get this to work. So let's go and hear what that sounds like. And there you have it. So the HMAC is illuminated by a total of 21 LEDs, if you count the switches here. You've got 6 on each side of the barrel, which is diffused by a blue bendy straw inside of here, and even further diffused with a little bit of frosted plexiglass. You have 2 blue LEDs under the barrel as well, which are diffused with some transparent 3D plastic. You have some UV LEDs, which are lighting up this little tube here and causing it to fluoresce. You have 2 LEDs behind the scope here, which kind of displays like a little reticle that I made out of 3D printer plastic and added some additional decals to. And then you finally have one down here on the grip, which is again diffused with a blue bendy straw. So that more or less does it for the LEDs, but let's go ahead and play a few of the other sounds here. One of the other sounds that it will play and that I designed myself is this idling sound. There we go. So this is just kind of for walking around a convention or something like that. Kind of gives the effect that it's, humming with some sort of electrical energy. And then also, by activating the trigger here, you get the firing sound effect. And again, that's a mix of a number of different sounds that I did in Audacity. A few little other odds and ends here. The scope can be turned on and off by this little black switch here. And that allows you to see kind of the original reflective sunglass lens while the rest of the lights are lit. The handle up here rotates just like on the mini version, and actually in conjunction with the back handle here, you can fully support the weight of the gun. The gun weighs about 7 pounds or so, and it consists of over 96 3D printed parts as well as 99 metal screws. A few of the non-3D printed parts that I used here, you can see the 1-inch PVC barrel. I have a little barrel cap in there as well, which is 3D printed. It's also used for these little details underneath here. This wiring is just some aluminum wire, which has been kind of coiled around itself for a nice little helical effect. I have a number of different warning labels on the gun as well, which I designed myself and were printed on just some simple white sticker paper. So you can see one there on the scope, one back there on the batteries as well. You have a little rubber grip here, both on this forward grip here and on the main grip here, which is just some neoprene rubber that I purchased from McMaster Car. You have little screens here, and you can kind of see the speakers inside there, and that's to allow the sound to escape a little bit better. You have this blue acrylic computer cooling tubing, which fluoresces under UV, which was a pretty cool discovery. And actually inside of that, it might be difficult to see. Maybe I'll turn the lights off for this. But there's like a little breathing tube in there from a BiPAP breathing system. And that just gives a little bit of extra detail and helps with wire management a little bit. Continuing on, you have the sunglass lens on the scope here, which I even etched on the front with an X-Acto knife to give it a little more detail. And then finally in the back, I have some toilet tubing above the batteries here that I used just for a little extra detail. There's plexiglass all throughout the gun as well, as I said before. And yeah, that pretty much does it. So thank you everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. And please keep an eye out for a future project on my Halo Reach armor. And thanks for watching. Have a great one.